Hey folks, how you doing? Craig here. So I thought I'd share a little story with you today, kind of break up the housebound that we're all in right now. So my story began about 5 years ago. I have a little shop, or I had a little shop that was next to a mechanic. And every once in a while, people would go to the mechanic to have their car worked on, and they would just, if my door was open, people would come in and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" and carry on a conversation. So this guy comes in one day, and I now refer to this guy as my conspiracy theory friend. He comes in and just, we're shooting the breeze, talking about all kinds of things, and then he mentions DMT, and I said, "What the heck is that?" And he said, it's this, look it up. So he said, go home, look up DMT, the spirit molecule, and watch that, and it'll inform you. So I went home, I looked it up, and as soon as I saw the film, I just went, wow, it just called to me. I could just feel it reaching out to me. And I thought, well, I'm going to put Peru on my radar, you know, someday maybe. So anyway, 6 months have gone by, something like that. It's still on the back burner. And I was part of an art gallery, and a new gal in town that I had just met was bringing in a piece of art to go into this community art show that was happening at the same time the opening of the gallery. So she carries this painting in, and I see it, and I said, "Well, that's pretty trippy looking. What was your inspiration for that?" She says, "Oh, it was a vision I had while on ayahuasca." So, it just yelled out to me, and I said, "Oh my God, yes! Where?" I said, "Did you go to South America?" She said, "No, it's here." So I said, "Yeah, I'm interested." She said, "Well, give me your email address, and when it comes around, I will let you know, and you can come do ceremony with us." So about 6 months later, I get a call from her. "You still interested?" "Yeah." So basically, I got set up to do my first ceremony with an ayahuasca and six other people besides myself, or including myself, there were six. So, I was leery. I've been sober for 27 years at this point, but there was a reason that I was seeking this out. I never worked the steps. I still had all kinds of monsters going on inside of me. So, anyway, the first night I drink, and basically it was elevator music and pretty pictures. I saw some wonderful, colorful imagery, but I found myself being very analytical about it, saying, "Is this all there is? Where's the depth? I want deep. I want deep. I want to go inward. I don't want to just see pretty pictures. I can go on Google imagery and see that, right?" So this voice comes to me and says, "Relax and enjoy. Welcome to ayahuasca. This is your introductory lesson. Just sit back and relax." So I enjoyed the rest of the evening, and the pretty pictures. And so the next morning it was funny, we're doing sharing circle. And I said, "Yeah, I was kind of bummed I didn't get what I wanted." And he says, "Expectations, don't have expectations." So, went through the day. That night we drank, sat down. 15 minutes in, wham, bam, bam. Oh my God, everything that I had shoved deep down inside of me all came up at once. So to give you a visual, those little 3-inch plastic balls that are in those bouncy rooms for kids, right? Well, imagine that an ocean is filled with those things. And each one of those is my problems in life. My angers, my fears, my resentments, everything. It's all problems. And when I was in my youth, when I was drinking and drugging, that seemed to take all those balls and push them about, imagine they're all floating in the ocean, and all those balls would sink down to about 3 feet below the surface of the water. And I can kind of then stand on them and keep my balance. And every once in a while, one of those balls would, float up to the surface. But instead of dealing with it, I would shove it back down. That's all I knew how to do. I was a natural born runner. I would just shove stuff down. So all of a sudden, here it is, this second night of doing ayahuasca, and 20 minutes in, they all just came to the surface at once, and I found myself dog paddling and I was drowning. I was drowning in all this, and I was scared to death because it was every problem that I had ever had in my entire life was now looking at me saying, "Take care of me, take care of me," and I'm screaming and crying inside, and I'm there laying on the ground like a little puppy, just whimpering and crying. And all of a sudden my mother, who's very much alive, comes to me and she says, she's just right here, and she says, "Honey, just let go. Just let go. And so I just, I tried. It was so hard. It was the scariest thing. It was like going in front of a judge and a jury, and they're pointing fingers at you, and you're about to be found guilty of a murder you didn't commit. That's the fear I had. It was the scariest situation in my entire life. The scariest moment in my entire life was right then. And, I'm crying and I'm scared and I don't know how to get out. It was traumatic. And then all of a sudden, the curandero calls me up. And so that was the first time I'd moved. And so I had to crawl over to him and I sat down. And he was trying to get me to sit, and I didn't want to sit. I was just like a new puppy, that doesn't want to sit. And he's trying to set me there, and he's just like, relax, relax, relax. And I kept saying, I'm scared, I'm scared. And with each of the songs that he started singing, I just was, Becky just brought it up, and I'm like, God, stop, I can't handle it anymore. And then all of a sudden, I felt this calm come over me. And, here we are in a pitch black room, all the windows are blacked out and everything. And suddenly the ceiling just opened up and this beautiful pink light just came down and hit me. And I knew right then and there I was having a one-on-one with God, with Creator, whatever that is. I knew it. And I just felt myself completely surrendering to it. And I said, I'm verbalizing, and I said, I completely surrender. I'm done, I'm done. And I went through this probably a 5-minute process of releasing, just reaching down inside to the very depths of my soul and pulling all this bullshit out and just, looking at it and saying, I no longer need you, you no longer serve. And I went through this whole releasing process. And, and this is probably, an hour into it that night. And, it was just this awakening moment, this one-on-one with this incredible energy. And the energy had a voice. And the funny thing is that voice sounded very much like mine. Ooh, that was weird. So anyway, I kept apologizing and, because I'm speaking with God. And I said, I'm sorry for all this crap. I'm sorry. And then all of a sudden, God says to me, wasn't that easy? And I laughed hysterically, because it was an easy process, but I had turned it into a nightmare process my entire life. I didn't know how to look inward. I didn't know how to look in the mirror and face what I saw. And so I had this incredible awakening moment there with my, who is now my friend, this curandero, sitting there just, releasing my soul to the universe. It was just absolutely cleansing and beautiful. And so afterwards, I crawled back over and I'm sitting up on my blanket and I'm just in absolute gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And suddenly, my eyes are open. It's pitch black room, as you guys know. And I look over to my right, and there's this very strange amoebic character, like right next to me. Kind of a Picasso-esque looking thing, and I look at it and I start laughing out loud. I'm like, oh my God, you're the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. What the heck are you? You're funny. Oh shit, you're me. And the moment I said that, I morphed into this Picasso-esque character, and I was completely in this animated world for the next 4 hours, and I was just, just tweaking and, morphing into this strange amoebic shape, my entire body, and I'm clicking and popping and making sounds and clicking my teeth and everything there, and people are laughing in the room because it must have been pretty darn silly. But what I did was I experienced the beautiful creative artist that had always been buried deep down inside of me. My whole life I had been, I've been an artist my whole life, and I'm always looking for that thing. I just knew there was more in me. I always knew there was more, but I could never find it, I always felt that I did mediocre stuff. And suddenly, this guy takes me on a journey, and kind of like a dude playing an air guitar that's not really there. I went through and I carved stone. I did metal sculptings that I had never, working with metal like I had never worked before. I did all these different artistic things that I've always dreamt of but never did. Well, I did it right there, make believe, in front of me. And what's funny is after about 3 hours, I crawled back over to the shaman and I said, you've been sitting there watching me all night. There's no coming back from where I've been. You cannot go there and come back. It's impossible. I said, so I'm going to take you tomorrow to my gallery and I'm going to show you my last piece of art. And then a couple months from now, I'm going to show you my next piece of art and you're going to see a major change in it, which I did. I showed him the next day and then 6 months later I showed him my next piece. And it had just completely changed. It awakened the artist within is what happened. So that was my first night. I am so blessed that I had a beautiful spiritual awakening on my first journey. And that opened the way for, I've now done 34 ceremonies in 4 years, just over 4 years. And it has just completely changed my life. It has changed everything. The way no spoilers. Everybody's journey is their own, and we all awaken to what we awaken to, and we realize what we do. But the major thing was that it allowed me to go deep inside, and I had manhole covers welded shut inside of me with all that nasty trauma buried deep down inside. And I have been able to release all this bullshit. There's still a couple things I'm holding on to because I still haven't, for me, it's not a matter of just saying, ooh, I don't like you, I don't want you, go away. I have to completely dissect, lay it out like a deck of cards and figure out why did this happen? Where did it come from? How did it affect other people? How did it affect me? How can I go back and change? How can I rectify? How can I ensure that it never happens again? How can I help other people that deal with what so I get really analytical about each and every step of my process that I'm going through. And anyway, so today I just thought I'd share that with you. I don't know if this rings a bell to you or does anything, but at least it took 10 minutes of your time sitting in the house. So enjoy, my friends. Good to see you. Take care. Bye.